Some of the revolvers commonly used in cowboy action shooting are reproductions of the Colt Single Action Army produced by either Pieta, the gun at the top, or Uberti, the gun at the bottom. These Italian companies have been making good replicas for many years, and they're commonly in use. But these imported guns have a feature that can cause a malfunction if you're not familiar with how it operates. So this happened to a shooter at a local match, and the shooter and the timer operator were unfamiliar with the issue, so I thought I would make a quick video about it. So these single action revolvers have what's called a base pin, which is a steel rod, which is the axis on which the cylinder rotates. And the one that I'm holding here is has one groove. You can see over here on the right, there's a groove that runs the full circumference of the pin. And the latch, there is a cylinder base pin retention latch spring-loaded here in the frame. And when you push the base pin into place, it's that retention piece latches into that groove, and then that's the proper way to shoot it. And the Colts had a rod or base pin similar to this with that one groove. Now, we've talked about before, and many people are familiar with the Single Action Army know that if you load the gun with 5 rounds, when you lower the hammer, the firing pin is resting right on the primer of the cartridge in the top chamber, and that's not a safe condition. And in SAS rules, that's not allowed. You have to load the gun with 5 rounds so that the hammer is down on an empty chamber. When the foreign manufacturers saw, maybe back in the 60s or 70s, a market in the US for Colt clone reproductions, they started making them, but the problem is that to import these guns into the United States, they had to pass a drop test. They could not go off if you dropped them, in a Colt style gun just about will. So they had to work around that. And the solution that they came up with, it was by a company called Hammerline, which is in Switzerland, which was making a single action Army replica. And what they did on that gun to pass that test is they added a second notch to the base pin. So this Uberti is one that has that feature. And if you see, there are 2 different notches or grooves cut into that base pin. So what does that do? Well, it allows you, put the base pin back in the gun right quick. What that allows you to do, in theory, so as I'm inserting, pardon the vibration there, as I insert the base pin into the gun, it clicks into that first place. And that's properly aligned for the gun to function. But if I put it back on half cock and I push that pin into the second position, it will lock into that second groove. And now the base pin protrudes out the back of the frame, and it blocks the hammer from going all the way down. So if you've disassembled this gun for cleaning or whatever, put it back together and push that base pin in too deep into that safety notch, into that second safety groove, you're going to cock this gun. It's going to go click, click, because the hammer is not falling far enough forward for the firing pin to hit the cartridge. And that's not good. I mean, so this was, again, a workaround. I mean, it is technically a manual safety. So technically you could load this gun and push it back the base pin all the way in deep, and it's safe to carry. It will not function at all. It could not even be more safe. But in a match or some other situation where you want the gun to function, if you've inadvertently activated that manual safety, your gun is not going to go off. So what you would have to do, what you could do, I think, in that situation, let's see if this works, is you could press the plunger and then lower the hammer all the way, and it will push that pin. You probably saw it move further out, and then you pull it a little bit more, and it has engaged the second position. And you can see how far that base pin sticks out. So if you have a revolver like this, and it has 2 grooves, then you know that it has this so-called Swiss safe feature. Now, the Pieta revolvers come with 2 notches as well, but as you can see, that is not a groove that goes all the way around the circumference of the pin. It's simply 2 little notches. So when you reassemble that gun, you've got to make sure that those notches are in the correct position so that that base pin catch will engage. But it's the same thing. I mean, you can push that rod in, base pin in too far past that first position into the safety notch, and the gun will not function. So what I did on these on this Pieta revolver was I ordered a pair of no safety groove, so-called base pins. These are actually Uberti pins, and they only have the 1 groove. So I never have to worry about getting the base pin in the wrong place. If it goes click, it's in place. There's no other place for it to engage. So I know that that one is good to go. Another option is to take one of the 2 groove pins and to grind the back of it off so that it would not protrude far enough. That's another way to address that. Now, my understanding is, and this is an older Uberti revolver, and maybe 9-10 years ago, Uberti changed the design of their Cattleman revolvers with the Cattleman 2 system. And what that did was it eliminated the first so-called safety notch on the hammer in favor of a internal design on the hammer with a retracting firing pin. So with that gun, unless the trigger is held all the way back, the firing pin will actually lose tension and will retract back in the hammer, and supposedly that makes it drop safe. And so by making that change, they also eliminated as redundant that first click. And so those guns are called 3-click revolvers sometimes, whereas the original Uberti design, original Colt, followed by Uberti and Pieta, the gun would click 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, did it do it? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that first click was a little soft, but that's the way those guns, and the the old parlance was, it spells its name, C-O-L-T. Well, the number of clicks is not really that important, but you want your gun to function. And so if you have one of these older, and my understanding again is on the newer Cattleman 2 revolvers, Uberti has been shipping those with a no safety, groove, 1 notch pin, because they don't need that Swiss safe feature to be imported. But you may pick one up that had some older parts in it and had a 2 groove pin. So pull out your base pin, take a look at it. If it's got 2 notches or 2 grooves in it, know that it has this feature, and not that you have to eliminate it, but you just need to be aware that there's a proper way to install that base pin if you want your revolver to function. So thanks for tuning in, and we will see you on the range.